Hey, what's up, champs? This is Coach Noor. How's it going today? Today, we're going to talk about your superpower, your pillar stability. So, you're probably wondering, hey, Coach Noor, what is my pillar? So, the pillar is made up of your shoulders, your torso, and your hips. So, these three things can either make or break your performance on the field or in daily living. Why do we want to look into your shoulders, your torso, and your hips? So this thing called kinetic linking that allows you to join one body part to another most optimally. You want to avoid what we call energy links, where you're not optimized, you're losing optimal transference of energy from the lower body all the way up, typically from the feet, from the lower extremities, all the way up. Say for example, you're doing a medicine ball toss, taking a ball and throwing it. You want to keep your hips involved in the entire motion, keep your core tight, keep your torso rotating the way it should be. But let's see what we can do about our hips, our torso, and our shoulders. So by the joint approach, a different joint requires different emphasis. For example, the ankle joint is meant to be more mobile, and the knee joint is meant to be stable. So as we move up the entire anatomy, as we move up the entire musculoskeletal chain, we realize there's an alternating fashion of mobility, stability, and vice versa throughout the chain. We start with ankle mobility, knee stability, and then you got hip mobility, lower back stability, upper back mobility, and the shoulders. You want to look into mobility as well. So those are things that you want to look into when it comes to training. So how do you work on mobility in your hips? You do, for example, the 90-90, where you're rotating the hip joint. The hip is a ball and socket joint, where this is your thigh bone, this is a hip joint, and it works just like a ball and socket joint, right? So if you sit down for too long, the muscles around it shorten, and we got this thing called the force-tension relationship, where the muscle shortens for too much, the amount of force generated by that muscle is attenuated. When that happens, we go through what we call a reciprocal inhibition. One muscle is not firing as much, the opposite muscle has to fire even more. So that's something to consider, something we'll discuss in the near future. But what ties in everything else? What ties in your hips, your torso, and your shoulders? A couple of basic stuff. Your habits, how do you maintain your posture? And what allows you to maintain your posture is a nice strong core, as well as the right training. When it comes to training, you want to see how you can incorporate hip movement. You want to see how you can incorporate stability in the torso, and you want to look into how you can incorporate shoulder stability and mobility work. So those are things we want to explore when we look into training for your pillar. Well, expect more of this in the coming weeks as we try to explore some of the concepts we've read, come across, are really important trying to understand human movement. We're looking into synergistic dominance, we want to look into reciprocal inhibition, we want to look into force-length relationship, or also known as length-tension relationship, and everything else that you may desire. Just ping me and let me know.